All right. With that being said, we are in week number 4 of this message series called Shema, where we've been talking about this very important and famous prayer that's contained in the Bible that our Hebrew brothers and sisters have been praying for thousands of years every morning and every evening as a way of expressing their devotion to God. We've been going through this series, unpacking it and looking at its proper place in our everyday life and in our relationship with God. And so this week we're going to start with what we have every week. We're going to start reading it together, Deuteronomy chapter 6, starting at verse 4. Are we ready? Oh, gracious, we got the quiet crowd. All right, let's try again. We ready? Yeah. All right. Ready? Let's read. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. And as for you, you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your strength. We started with the actual word Shema, and we came to understand that when God asks people to Shema, he's asking them to listen and obey. They are two sides of the same coin. There's not a separate word for listening and a separate word for obedience. They are the same word. We listen and obey. We also understand that real listening, Shema, then takes effort and action. We heard that as well. Last week, then, we unpacked the word heart, which in the Hebrew is pronounced levav or lev for short. We came to understand that every day, as God's people, we are called to devote our whole body and mind, our feelings, our desires, our future, and even our failures. And we learned that this is what it really meant to love the Lord our God with our whole heart. And so today, I want to look at the 5th key word in this prayer. It is soul, and it is the Hebrew word nephesh. It occurs over 700 times in the Old Testament, and in the common English translation of this word is soul. However, that is actually really unfortunate because the English word soul comes with lots of baggage from ancient Greek philosophy. This idea that the soul is a non-physical, immortal essence of a person that's contained or maybe even seen as being trapped in their body to be released at death. Anybody else have that kind of feeling about soul? Like, it's kind of like, I want my soul to be free one day, And so it's this concept that when we hear soul, that's what we are thinking. This idea, though, is actually totally foreign to the Bible, and it's not at all what nephesh means in biblical Hebrew. So this idea that kind of like this soul is, and then one day, that's not the idea of what we're talking about when it says soul. Here's the crazy thing. Here's the first one in your notes, that the basic meaning of nephesh is the word throat. And so when Israelites were wandering in the wilderness, they were hungry and thirsty. They said to God, we missed the cucumbers and melons we had in Egypt, and now our nephesh, is the word they use, is all dried up. That was in Numbers 11. Again, in Psalm 105, Joseph, after he was sold by his brothers, and then he was hauled off into slavery into Egypt, and it says that his nephesh, his throat was put into iron shackles. Follow me there. We still good today? And so, but nephesh doesn't only mean throat. Since your whole life and body depend on what comes in and out of your throat, nephesh is used to refer to the whole person. Nephesh. So Genesis 45:15, there were 33 nephesh in Jacob's family, meaning he had 33 people in his family. The Torah calls a murderer in Numbers 31 a nephesh slayer. And a kidnapper in Deuteronomy 24 is called a nephesh thief. And so on the first pages of the Bible, both humans and animals are called living nephesh. And if the life breath has left a human or an animal, the nephesh actually remains. It's actually called a dead nephesh. In other words, that's a corpse. So in the Bible then, key point, people don't have a nephesh, people are a nephesh. So people don't have a nephesh, people are a nephesh. This is really key. And so that you are a living, breathing, physical being, and that might, may surprise you a little bit. Because most people assume that the Bible says the soul is what survives apart from the body after death. Now, biblical authors do have a concept of people existing after death, waiting on the resurrection, but they rarely talk about it. And when they do actually talk about it, they don't use the word nephesh. So even though nephesh is translated as soul, the Hebrew word refers to the whole human as a living physical organism. Okay, nephesh. And this is why in the Bible, they often use the word nephesh to refer to themselves, but it gets translated as me or I. So in Psalm 119, most translations read like this: let me live that I may praise you. But Hebrew, the poet literally says this: let my nephesh live that it may praise you. That my nephesh is. So by using nephesh, say with me, church, when they use nephesh, the poet emphasizes that their entire being, their life, and their body offers thanks to God. Now, one of Bob's right there, because that's big. That they're saying their entire being. So he's saying, like, when I'm worshiping, I can't have my lips saying what's on the screen, but my mind is at home on the crock pot. When I worship, I can't have it as, I can't really worship as background music. That's not worship if I'm not connected with my whole. In other words, here's what the Lord says: if you're going to worship me, it's going to take all of you. And if it's not all of you, it's not like he's like, oh, okay, well, that's good. And he doesn't, that's not how it works for him. He says, I want all of you because I gave you all of me. And so worship is all of you. So when we worship, when we come together, when we worship the Lord in our worship services, it is why it takes all of us needs to be present. And it's not about the song I like; it is about the song that He wants to hear. Our audience is one, and it's the song that comes out of my heart when I give my whole self. And it is why you can feel the atmosphere change when we offer our whole selves. When everybody is connected, you sense, and it happening in this, you sense something changes. It's because then it becomes real worship where it's not the distractions of anything else, but we connect as a whole with our whole entire being, our life and our body. We offer thanks. I offer God, listen, again, it's my life and my body. I can't just offer to Him with my body and not my life. Come on, say with me. Say with me. It's my whole stuff, like a whole thing. My life and I got to bring it all to Him. And so when we're looking at this, and in the Song of Solomon, a young woman, it constantly refers to her lover as the one my nephesh loves. So, of course, love isn't just an intellectual experience. It's an emotional one as well. It activates your whole body, your nephesh. And so when we start talking about worship, it is why he begins saying it takes the whole thing. He says, enter His gates with thanksgiving. All of you, every part of your entire self, your life and your body. Enter His gates with thanksgiving. Enter His courts with praise. And what happens is church becomes so familiar to us that we can leave part of us at the house and part of us comes to church. And so we never end up doing this thing that worship does, and it's called change. And so we leave the same way we came because our whole self didn't encounter Christ. And so that just doesn't happen. That's against the laws of the universe. Nobody has an encounter with Jesus and stays the same. And so when we do this, and we're not totally present, we teach ourselves and we keep lowering the standard of what is required for real worship until it gets to this dangerous place called convenience and comfort. There's no longer a sacrifice of praise. Yeah. There's no more change involved. I don't have to ascend to the mountain. I want to bring the mountain down to me. I don't want to take the effort to climb to where you are, Lord. I want to bring you down into the muck and mire and the mess of my life. I don't want to learn how to rise above out of it. Because the truth is, I love all this slop I'm in. Oh, it's comfortable to me. It soothes my skin. All this delicious filth. I don't want to climb to where you are. I need somebody else to go up there and talk to God. We're going to stay here at the bottom. It's too scary up there. So Moses, you go. Pastor, you go. Intercessor of the church, you go. You go to God for me. Hey, when you get a chance, can you go ahead and pray for me? You go up the mountain because I don't feel worthy. I don't know how to. You put one foot in front of the other. You take it one day at a time. You start to, even when you don't. He's not a grammar teacher. He's not saying you didn't phrase it right. What he is, though, he's a truth, but he's a discerner of truth. He can determine, he discerns when you're playing the game. Father, I don't know why I do that. Rebellion. Father, I don't know why I keep dating the same people, because you won't change. Lord, I don't know how come, I just can't see why. How come I don't own a house? Because you won't pay bills on time. How come I don't get blessed like so-and-so does? Because you need to stop looking over that fence and mow your own lawn. God, it seems like you favor someone above me. Well, maybe that's because they take time for me and you don't. Maybe it's not favor. Maybe it's just spiritual gravity. Well, I mean, Lord, how about this? So for years, when we planted the church, Lord, I kept looking and, man, I mean, we were around some of the really successful church plants. I mean, they launched with like 700 or 800 people. I mean, first Sunday. I mean, and so Laurel, if y'all don't know the story, we launched with 55. I mean, 14 years later, it's like, yes! 14 years, I was like, what? And he had people fly out for it. Mary Martin gonna fly out. Jill gonna fly out. And it's just all the pressure. And you're like, yeah, this is wonderful. See it by the eyes of your faith. Like it's, those things. And so for years and years, like I battled with that whole thing about what does success look like as a pastor, as a church. And the short version is this. I found this book by Sean Lovejoy. It's called The Measure of Our Success. He was a pastor. And he finally said, I had to figure out, because it couldn't be defined by a number. Because as I said, like a church of 100, you know what they think about? When I'm 200, I'm going to make this thing. Church of 250, you know what they're thinking? Wait till I get to 500. Church of 500 is thinking, wait till we're 1,000 people. We're going to do stuff. Church of 1,000 thinks, wait till we're 2,000. There's never a number that satisfies human flesh. So you got to find another measure, or you'll keep striving. And here's the crazy part. You'll even get there, but will you really have a church Jesus wants to go to? Or will you have created a church that people like? So what you had to figure out, like, what then is the measure of success? And I was so glad, I get to the point, and it was really this. Do we look more like Jesus this year than we did last year? That is the measure of our success. Individually and as a faith community. Because if we don't look more like Jesus this year than we did last year, we are not successful. We are existing, and every year, 10% of what every church does becomes irrelevant. And if you don't examine it, which is what we take 21 days of prayer to do, Father, examine us. Yeah. Take out anything that's not like you. Lord, help us and help us pursue the things that you're adding to us. Give us not only the word to do it, give us, in some cases, the courage to do it. And sometimes we need the resources to do it and the timing of when to do it. And so we get all of that during that season. We're drawing close. He chooses to impart. We're not begging him for anything. He chooses to do it when we follow. It's why we listen and obey. Do we look more like Jesus than we did last year? Church, it's the question that not just Pastor James has to answer. We all have that as the question. Do you look more like Jesus this year than you did last year? Come on, are we still hearing me? So when we talk on NEPHESH about my whole entire being, it is why when it comes to worship, it's not about our favorite song. It is this, because it's his favorite song, and his song sounds like our heart, our life and our body coming together, being totally here and present. So I remember Niece and I were dating. I was living out there. She was living in Morro Bay. I was living on South Agape. And so she had a cell phone. I did not. So she was the rich one in the relationship. And so I had to wait till we got home. I had a cordless phone, but you all knew what that was. Like, you hot stuff then, but you had to be at your house still. Yeah. Okay. The cord was tied to the base, but you were cordless as long as you was in a range. So anyway, I remember she would call. I'd get on work, she'd call. And I always had this thing, like whenever I came home, I'd turn my TV on and SportsCenter was on. And so that was just habit. I was, single is what happened. And then I think Mike was living with me at that time. And so, that's just what it was. So Niece would call and we'd be catching up from our day. And so of course, it would be on and we're talking because, men, we can multitask. And so, because I'm needing to see what's happening in the world of sports and connect with this person I love. So I'm like, so I'm multitask. And you can tell, and all of a sudden she go, are you watching something else? And you realize you're busted, right? So you got one of two choices. Being the honest pastor that I was like, no. I'm not doing, because I, at that point feared her at that point more than I feared the Lord. You know how that goes. I'm kidding. Somebody like, it's okay to laugh at church. All right, you okay? So, and so I realized, she used to say, why don't you call me back when you can be totally present? Right? Because Nisa Hill wasn't no coupon. She wasn't going to be like, I'll take you're going to be present in this thing. And so it set a standard from the very beginning that you need to be present. And even now, I have to work. And it's not as much, but I just have to be careful. Like we get a rhythm in marriage, but there's times where it's like, look, I got to know, look, you got to shut down. You're like, be right there, be present. And sometimes, guys, it takes laying in the bed right next to her to be present. And not expecting smoke. Just right there. Just good old-fashioned listening and cuddling and being right there and listening. Not trying to stir nothing up. It's going to be right there. And you all listen and talk. Now, if it gets stirred later, that's on that. But you're right there. Just real things. Present. Present at dinner. That means like this. Goes down or off or put away. And now, we do that. Sometimes this goes off, so you got to put away the watch too. Present. Well, it's crazy. That only happens in marriage. That doesn't happen in worship or with the Lord. There's never a time where we're with our mouth, we're talking about his goodness, but our mind is somewhere else. We're checking on Sports Center, and he's talking to us about life. Is anybody here? Am I the only one that messed up that way, or are we present? And the great thing about coming out of days of fasting and prayer is you get addicted to being present. I mean, you just almost hate for it to end. Like, I'm sitting here tonight thinking, man, I don't know what I'm going to do without seeing these people tonight that I've been with the last 3 weeks. We just have hung out together. And I'm telling you, Jesus is a good reason to hang out. Present. Can you all hear me then? Team, you all can come on up, because I'm literally, I know it's going to be hard to believe, but the Lord's going to perform a miracle. I'm just about done. And so it helps us understand the brilliance of our biblical poets when they came up with multiple meanings for nephesh in one place. Psalm 42, 2 and 3, we read, very familiar, as the deer pants for the water, so my nephesh pants after you. My nephesh thirsts for the living God. Can you all see the beauty in that at all? And so on a physical level, your throat can be thirsty like the deer's thirst, but and then that physical thirst can become a representation of how your whole physical being longs to know and be known by the Lord. Nephesh, my life and my entire body can want to know him. And all this comes all the way back to Shema. Last 2 points and then I'm done. I told you it was a miracle. And it's this, to love the Lord with all of your nephesh means to devote your whole physical existence to your Creator, the one who granted us these amazing bodies in the first place. So to love the Lord, my whole nephesh, my whole soul, is to devote my whole physical existence to the Creator. Here's the last one. That it's about offering your entire being with all of its capabilities and its limitations in an effort to love God and to love your neighbors yourself. Now, this is really key here, this really key part about offering your capabilities and your limitations. Because if you only offer God, and we touched on it last week about offering him our failures. No, for some of you, that was like a revelation, like, no, because failures are things that we hide from God because he don't want to see those. He already knows, crazy thing. Already knows about your failures. You offer them as a symbol of lordship and transparency of the relationship, saying, Lord, I'm so confident in this relationship. Here's my good and my bad, and I know it doesn't change. When it comes then to offering him your nephesh, loving the Lord, being present, and also offering him all of your capabilities and your limitations, when you offer him your limitations, you understand that you don't earn his love. It's been given to you. So it's not based on your performance. So you give him your good and your bad, your capabilities and what you can't do. Good leadership knows what they're good at, but also what they're not good at. And real worship says, Lord, here's what I'm capable, but Lord, here's where I'm not. And you are the source of both. And real worship says, I give them all to you. What I'm proud of and what wants to drive me to shame, I bring it to a loving God. And I will love you with every part of me. There will be no secrets between us. And some of us have been hearing this annoying sound. Is that my ears? Is that my ringing? Lord, I come to worship you. You're amazing. You're awesome, God. I love you with my whole heart. Reading my scriptures. Going through my life. Praying. What is that sound? It's the knocking on that door that you refuse to open for him because you're ashamed what's behind it. The door that he already knows what's beyond it. So why does he keep knocking then if he knows what's behind it? Because true love has to have a choice. And so you have to love him enough and be convinced of his love enough that you open that door with all the dirty little secrets and say, even those I surrender to you. Because I don't want there to be any more secrets. So you see me in my good state, and you see me in my filthy state, and still you've got the nerve to call me a son or a daughter. And when I get there, when I worship there, all of a sudden, all that extra knocking of him being persistent, and be clear, Jesus will knock and will not stop. Because his desire is that you would be whole, not just walking again. He doesn't want you to be functionally sinful. He wants you to be a new creation in Christ Jesus, where old things have passed away, and behold, everything, somebody say everything is new. Somebody needs to end the knocking in your life this morning. And when we go to this fourth song, can I just ask you just to end the knocking? Open the door because he already knows. And trust that he loves you the same. Trusting that his love for you is not going to diminish. It's not even going to increase because it can't, because he gave it all to you. But where it will happen for you is you will grow. You will discover grace like you have not known, peace like you have known, a deeper relationship with the Lord like you have not known, because you spent your whole life creating this nice sanitary environment with this door that he's not allowed to go in. Open that door and let him walk you through what cleaning that out looks like. Come on, somebody hearing me? This is making sense at all today. So throughout the team ministers today, the prayer team's going to be in the back, in the corners. Prayer team, I'm going to disperse you to those places right now. And if you need to stop the knocking, there's some great people back there waiting to go do that with you. If you need to make a commitment up here at the response station up here, you're welcome to do that in front as well. Or you just want to be right where your seat, wherever that is. But I'm encouraging you. Don't get used to it. End the knocking by opening the door. Come on, is anybody hearing me yet today? Is this making sense at all today? She really good.